The Great Chessboard, American Primacy, and its Geostrategic Imperatives, Zbigniew Brzezinski. The Grand Chessboard, U.S. Dominance and its Global Mission, Zbigniew Brzezinski, an eminent political strategist and former U.S. National Security Advisor, in his book, The Grand Chessboard, views global politics as a grand strategic game, where the United States occupies a central role. For Brzezinski, the U.S. is the first non-Eurasian superpower, uniquely positioned to shape global order. He believes that the U.S. must not only protect its interests, but also actively support international stability, leveraging its influence over key global regions. In Brzezinski's view, the U.S. can advance global democratic values, ensuring long-term security and economic stability. However, this requires a thoughtful, comprehensive approach to global management. Brzezinski emphasizes the need for a well-planned strategy, especially concerning Eurasia, the epicenter of global political and economic interests. America as the first global superpower. The U.S. became the first global superpower in history that is not based in Eurasia. Its unique geographic position allows America to control distant regions and protect its interests by being far from its primary competitors. Brzezinski explains that, with these advantages, the U.S. can leverage its military, economic, and cultural power to influence the entire world. His concept suggests that the U.S. must maintain its leadership role, fostering global stability by balancing power. According to Brzezinski, a key aspect of achieving this stability is supporting democratic and market reforms in other nations. The principle of exporting democracy, often promoted by the U.S., aims to establish a safer and more predictable order in the international system. However, he emphasizes that this approach must be flexible, considering each nation's unique circumstances and culture. For example, imposing the American model of democracy could lead to conflicts and anti-American sentiments if only Western values are considered. Unique threats to America. The U.S.'s position as a superpower also demands that it considers new threats such as cybersecurity and hybrid warfare, which may arise not only from rival states, but also from non-state actors like terrorist groups or hackers. The geostrategic importance of Eurasia. Eurasia, according to Brzezinski, is the center of global influence and economic activity. The continent unites Europe and Asia, both historical centers of political and economic power. Controlling Eurasia allows one to set conditions for the rest of the world. In this regard, Brzezinski believes the U.S. must build its foreign policy to ensure that no single state can completely dominate Eurasia. Brzezinski doesn't see Eurasia as a homogeneous space, but as a collection of distinct zones, each requiring a unique approach. For example, in Europe, the U.S.'s main priority is to maintain stability and integration, involving active cooperation with the European Union and NATO. In Asia, however, the focus shifts to economic cooperation and containing China and Russia. These countries, in Brzezinski's view, could form a powerful alliance capable of pushing the U.S. out of the region, which would threaten the global order. Features of internal instability. Eurasia is also a region where ethnic and religious conflicts could escalate significantly, affecting U.S. security. For example, instability in Central Asia, particularly Afghanistan, could lead to the spread of extremist ideas and drug trafficking, both of which pose threats to the U.S. Russia's role in world politics. Russia, for Brzezinski, represents a major geopolitical player with abundant natural resources and military power. Russia has the legacy of a great empire and, as Brzezinski sees it, aims to restore its influence, particularly over former Soviet territories. Brzezinski proposes a strategy of constraining and engaging, simultaneously restraining Russia's ambitions while encouraging its economic and political alignment with the West. He warns that open confrontation with Russia could have unwanted consequences. So, the U.S. should employ methods of engagement and cooperation. The West could offer Russia access to economic opportunities and technological resources in exchange for respect for democratic norms and human rights. Brzezinski views this as a strategic advantage for both sides, which could not only strengthen democracy in Russia, but also reduce its potential threat to neighboring countries and the US. Russia's potential as a partner and competitor. Brzezinski believes that integrating Russia into the Western world holds immense potential. Russia could become a key partner for America if it embraces Western values. However, its instability and internal issues could lead to a crisis, posing another threat to international order. Potential challenges from China and India. China, according to Brzezinski, is a serious challenge for the US, given its rapidly developing economy and large population. China is becoming more active in international politics, expanding its influence in the Asia-Pacific region, Africa, and Latin America. Brzezinski believes that the US should contain China's ambitions by involving it in international institutions and maintaining a balance of power in the region. India, on the other hand, represents a different strategic interest for the US. Brzezinski sees it as a democratic nation capable of becoming a significant counterbalance to China. The US could support India's rise as an economic and political power, thereby countering Chinese influence. According to Brzezinski, strengthening India as a strategic partner will help the US contain China's influence in Asia. Additionally, a strong India could serve as a barrier to China's expansion into the Indian Ocean and Central Asia, while also supporting regional stability. Avoiding a strategic China-Russia alliance, Brzezinski emphasizes that it is crucial for the US to prevent an alliance between China and Russia, as this would create a powerful bloc capable of competing with America on a global scale. The US should aim for a strategic balance that prevents any single player from dominating Eurasia. The European Union as a strategic ally. Europe, in Brzezinski's view, plays a critical role in the US's global strategy. The European Union is an important ally with whom the US shares democratic and market-based values. Brzezinski believes that Europe can become a deterrent to Russia, particularly in Eastern Europe. He recommends that the US actively support European unity and strengthen transatlantic ties. However, Brzezinski also notes Europe's growing independence in international matters. He warns that without strong US support, Europe may become vulnerable to external threats, especially from Russia. Therefore, he calls for strengthening NATO, which would bolster the security of Europe and the entire Western world. Europe as an economic and cultural leader, Brzezinski believes that Europe can foster the development of Western culture and economy, and its partnership with the US will create a powerful bloc that solidifies the Western world's position and values on the international stage. The importance of stability in the Middle East. The Middle East plays a significant role in global politics due to its vast natural resources, particularly oil. Brzezinski emphasizes that instability in this region could disrupt the global economy, lead to migration crises, and heighten terrorist threats. He believes that US policy in the Middle East should focus on maintaining stability and preventing the rise of radical movements. In Brzezinski's view, the US should maintain close ties with key allies in the region, such as Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Israel, while also helping to resolve regional conflicts. He stresses the importance of respecting the cultural and religious characteristics of the Middle East to avoid fostering anti-American sentiments. Brzezinski warns that excessive interference in the region could have negative consequences, so the US should practice restraint and avoid exerting undue pressure on local nations. Controlling global resources and US leadership. One of America's main responsibilities, according to Brzezinski, is managing global resources to ensure the stable development of the world economy. As global population and resource demands increase, particularly for oil and gas, the US must collaborate with international organizations to secure equitable access to these resources and prevent conflicts. Brzezinski believes that America must act as an arbitrator, taking on the role of regulating resource prices and protecting nations that rely on resource imports. This would make the U.S. an indispensable player on the international stage and solidify its economic influence. Promoting democracy and protecting human rights. According to Brzezinski, America has a duty to defend democratic values and human rights worldwide. However, he warns that forcibly imposing democracy can have the opposite effect. So the U.S. should employ soft power, offering economic aid, cultural exchange, and political consultation to positively influence the development of democratic institutions in countries that have yet to achieve a high level of democracy. America should act as a role model rather than an aggressor, showing nations that democratic institutions are a path to stability and prosperity. Brzezinski stresses the importance of considering the cultural and historical characteristics of other countries, helping them pursue democratization without direct intervention. This approach enhances the U.S.'s international image and contributes to global stability. Balancing interests and alliances in U.S. diplomacy. For U.S. diplomacy to succeed, it must balance the interests of allies and competitors. Brzezinski asserts that America should strengthen relations with traditional partners and establish new strategic alliances. He stresses that isolation and unilateral actions weaken U.S. positions, while flexible cooperation helps prevent conflicts and build trust. Conclusion: Brzezinski believes that the U.S. must remain an active leader in global politics, taking responsibility for the future of the world order and protecting both its own interests and those of the international community.